Hey everybody, it's Anthony from comicseatingup.net. I know things have been crazy lately with the coronavirus going on, everything's shutting down. I would expect comic shops will soon have to start closing down, or we'll actually see a reduced foot traffic. Schools are closed, a lot of businesses are closed, bars, restaurants, movie theaters, gyms, those kind of things are closed. They shut down all the sports leagues. They shut down the baseball team that I coach, for example. We got one practice in before everything shut down. I've been off for a couple of days because my kids are out of school, so I have been downstairs in the basement. Had a couple of days where I had cold and I couldn't go into work anyway because, if you're sniffling and sneezing and coughing, they don't want you to come in, which is great because, you don't want to spread anything no matter what. But I had a couple of days, so, I started organizing my boxes, and one of the things that it kind of dawned on me as I was going through all these books, I have probably 40,000 total books. Not all of them are down here with me right now. I have been filtering in long boxes out of storage and going through those, but I'm sifting all these collections together and just finding some neat books. But like I said, it got me thinking. They were talking about, on Bleeding Cool, they ran that article from the retailer saying he doesn't want to accept money from speculators or flippers. I run a spec site. I am a flipper. I fully admit to that. But I'm also a collector. Having as many comics as I do, I buy a lot in shops. I spend a lot of money in shops. So for someone, a retailer to be short-sighted like that and say he doesn't want the business of flippers. I mean, if you looked at this video here, let me show you this. If you see all these boxes, all these short boxes were bought in comic shops. Every book is bagged and boarded. Every one of these, is something that I have to buy bags and boards for. So, it's a lot of money that you're potentially saying, hey, I don't want any of this. So, I mean, if you don't want my money, that's fine. But let me show you some of the books that I found. Some of I showed off before in Anthony's pickups, but I've definitely got some ones that I haven't shown off before. Just things that I found while I'm cleaning through that I've set aside because I want to put these in a different box than the regular runs. First up, Nova #1. This one's it's probably a very fine copy. It's first appearance of Nova. Now, this has always been one of my favorite series. I've had this set for years, but it is the Wolverine miniseries. Now, these are kind of old and dog-eared and read. They're well read, but there's #1, #2, #3. That's that black cover that's hard to keep nice. I mean, that shows spine dings and ticks really, really easily. And #4. Now, this is a really rare Wolverine book. I don't know if many people have actually seen this or not, but this is Wolverine number 102.5, and this is signed by Boris Vallejo. And it's got that wizard little hologram right there. You can check it out. I've had this for years. I actually got this out of collection. Guy years ago sold me his collection, and all right, it was cool. I'll take it. The Eternals #1. Another, the movie's coming out soon. Now, this is something I picked up in a shop, and I couldn't pass it up. Not the greatest copy, but that actually is a sticker on the bag, not on the comic itself. But Fantastic Four #46. You see that Marvel subscription crease going right through the center. That's quite common. This is another one I picked up in stores. Fantastic Four 64. This one I ordered online, and I hope a bunch of you guys got in on this when I had posted them up a while back. But it's the San Diego Comic-Con #2, which is the first, I can't remember if it's first color Hellboy, or there's so many first appearances of Hellboy. This is one of those first appearances of Hellboy. Omega Man, and the first appearance of Lobo. That's a great book. I've had that forever, and I probably should have sold it by now, but haven't. This is a dollar bin find, and I was really glad I found it. It's in horrible shape. I mean, it's really in bad shape. But Tales of Suspense 44. I think this is the third appearance of Iron Man, which is just kind of cool to have, especially for a buck. It is complete and held together, but just barely. It's falling apart. Here's another comic shop find. This was, believe it or not, a dollar bin book. Spectre #1, the first solo Spectre series. Another, now, I'm not afraid of buying low grade books, especially if they're key first appearances. But Showcase 75, the first appearance of Hawk and Dove. Unfortunately, there is a sticker mark. Like, at some point they priced it and pulled the price tag off the cover. But that's a Mark Jeweler variant. It's got the Mark Jeweler insert in it. More modern. Ultimate Fallout #4, first appearance of Miles Morales. I bought this in the comic shop off the stand, and I've had it ever since. It's probably a 9.6, and that's the only reason I haven't sent it in for grading. Online purchase, Swamp Thing #1. This is like a fine 6.0 in that range. Love Swamp Thing. Now, I won't cause that argument, but Swamp Thing had appeared previously, so that's not his first appearance, but that is the first appearance of this incarnation of Swamp Thing. Marvel Spotlight 55. I think this is the first solo Moon Knight series. I think that's a nice, 5.5, I think. This is another dollar bin find, believe it or not. I don't think they know what they had, but, there is some writing on the cover, and it's not in the best of shape. But it is Brave and the Bold, Hawkman. This is the second appearance of Hawkman, I believe. I believe it's the second appearance of Hawkman. So Brave and the Bold 35. This is just a classic cover I love. This was a dollar bin find, and again, it's in ratty shape, but it's such a classic cover. I had to pick it up. Again, for a buck. Fantastic Four 51, that This Man, This Monster cover. Just love that cover. Again, it's a ratty copy. It's not in great shape. It's not worth pressing or anything like that, just because there's so many flaws in it. This is one of my first Key books, and in fact, this is the first Key that I ever bought. Growing up, this is one of those comics that I just absolutely loved, and had always wanted a copy of it. So when I found found it the first time, I bought it. Kimiko Primer #2, the first appearance of Grendel. I've got Kimiko Primer 1, which is the first ad for Grendel, and Kimiko Primer, I think it's 5, the first appearance of the Max. This is a recent purchase, and I know I've shown this off before. Silver Surfer #3, first appearance of Mephisto. And I know I've shown this one off before. Fantastic Four Annual 6, that first appearance of Annihilus. So these are books that, as I've been kind of going through boxes, just shuffled them around, pulled them aside to put them in a special box, just because these are books that I shouldn't say absolutely, but probably won't ever sell. They'll stay in my collection. So that's it. That's what I've been up to. Bagging and boarding, and just going through boxes and boxes and boxes, marrying them down, merging runs, stuff like that. So let us know what you've been up to. If you're at work, stay safe. If you're home, what are you doing to keep sane? Because I've got 2 kids at home right now that are just absolutely going nuts. And, I hope everybody gets through this. We will get through this. We'll see everybody on the other side. And as they pull more cool stuff out, I'll be happy to share it with you. Just let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section on what your favorite book is, one book that you absolutely would not sell that you have in your collection, and give us a thumbs up for this video. Thanks. We'll see you guys soon.